Yes. 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 This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it. I don't care what nobody say. This is it. This right here is my show. Ooh. This is it right here. This. Oh, okay. So they came with fire for this show. And the show I'm talking about is Lovecraft Country. So let's get into it. First of all, my name is Trey Francis. I am I'm a screenwriter and I'm an actor. I was about to lead with singer. I don't know why I was going to lead with I don't know why I was going to lead with that when I do sing, but I'm not doing that on my channel per se. But anyways, yeah, this is so Lovecraft Country just came out last night on HBO. Mondays, which is today, is going to be the day in which I upload my videos for this. And then, like I said in my last video, because I made sure it was moved to Monday nights, I'm going to put those videos up by at least Wednesday to give this video a couple of days to do what it needs to do or whatever. And then I have some other stuff like my Trey's Music Corner and things like that is going to be it's going to start being added to my channel this week. So I'm holding myself accountable. I'm holding myself, like, it don't matter. I made a plan. I got all that shit together. So anyways, let's get into this video because this is it. This is it. This is the writer, one of the writers of this show. I think she's also, she may be directing in some of these episodes, whatever the case may be, but I know that she's a writer. Misha Green. So we gotta applaud her, Misha Green. We love to see it. Her, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, I hope I'm not mistaken with this because I'm doing this from memory, but I believe Misha Green and Jordan Peele, which I think he's the executive producer of this, they also worked together on Candyman, which was pushed back because, you know, this year is not the year. The 20... So anyways, yeah, so they also work together on this, it appears, and it is beautiful. First of all, midway through this, I'm just gonna go ahead and give this little spoiler, and then I'm really gonna get into this video. This made me cry watching it. I don't know what's going on. But the universe has got me in an emotional spot. I don't know if this is some of my water signs coming through in my chart or whatever it can be, but something's going on, and I'm a Leo. This is my month, and what is going on? And I cried because I was emotional, so I was just overwhelmed, right? Which I'm just I don't be doing all this stuff, but anyways, got me crying and stuff. But yeah, I started crying because, first of all, seeing an array of different skin tones of Black people on this particular show, seeing how we accurately contributed to American society and American culture and American invention, right? All of these things just made me proud seeing this on there. The one of the little girls, which is his niece, I believe, in the video. It's his niece in the show. She is she's a comic book writer, and she also draws and stuff like this. I'm just are you kidding me? Who else? It's just beautiful. So I'll get to some of the other things. They spoke on about how Atticus, which is one of the main characters' names, we're following his story, right? He is basically a war hero, and he fought in the Korean War, and he's come back, and he's very much so into reading books, and he's very intelligent in surrealism, and that's gonna come up in what this show is all about, and just how a lot of us went to go fight, you know, of course not us in this present day and time, that was then, but in these different wars, a lot of Black people went, and other people of color went and fought for a country that didn't even like them, you know what I mean, that thought they were less than human beings, and they talk about that trauma in this, you know, it's a brief thing, but I feel like it's going to be interwoven in the show, but it did come up, just all these different things. I just really loved it. It's just beautiful. But anyways, I started crying because we were just seeing us in a lot of different lights, the just everything. So anyways, let's get into this video because I can talk, as you know, but let's get into this. So we open up. This is season 1, episode 1. It's called Sundown. So I was like, well, okay, we know what this means. So this is set in 1950s Jim Crow America, right? The opening image, we see Atticus. He's in this war, which is the Korean War, in which he fought in, and he's fighting in the war. He's very talented. He's very skilled. That's another thing that made me emotional. It was like, yes, you're showing us in the correct light. He's very talented. He's very skilled in the war. He knew what he was doing. And then out of nowhere, this surrealism starts to happen where like the earth is being infiltrated by aliens, and like this spacecraft comes and it opens up and then out flows down like this beautiful black alien. She looked black to me. This black alien, and she comes over, and basically it looks like she kind of saved the day in my sense, where she kind of like had him sort of, it was like him seeing like an outer body experience. So then it made me think like, okay, is someone dreaming? Is someone daydreaming? Like what's going on? Because it's like him with her, watching him still fight in the war, and then like she does something and like everything blows up, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And so then we see him, he's on this bus and he wakes up from like this dream, which I thought, and we see that he's reading this book, and so it looks like this book has taken him back to this place, right, where he fought in the war, and he sort of added this like surreal sort of layer to it that of course wasn't there in the real war, but it's there now when he reads his book. And of course, with this being the opening image that we see, it's setting us up to expect otherworldly, right, creatures to be brought into the story, and that we're supposed to get along for the ride, right? So it shouldn't be jarring later on when you see creatures and things flying and things, you know, maybe a dragon or something, whatever, right? It shouldn't jar you, because it's already, they set up the world beautifully so that we understand, we get this understanding of what to expect as we move forward, right? Okay, so let's move on. Just wanted to explain that so that you got it. Just in case you haven't watched it yet, which if you haven't watched it yet, you should definitely pause the video and go watch it, and then definitely come back and watch my video, because I would love to support. And if you like what I'm talking about, you like some of the other stuff that I told you I'm going to be doing later on in my on my channel, then please subscribe and please like, and you can share it if you want to. But anyways, so then it's present day. It's segregated. It's very much so a segregated America, right? This is during the 1950s. And Atticus is on this bus. This lady is talking to him, and I didn't quite get the relationship. So I'm going to watch it again, because this was so good that I want to watch it again anyways. Because I want to understand what the relationship was between he and her. But she started talking to him about what he was reading and stuff like this. And he was explaining to her about this book. And then all of a sudden the bus breaks down. So then the bus breaks down. They're standing there waiting for the bus to be fixed. And as we noted, right? Since this is segregated in America, the white people were sitting in the front of the bus, and the black people, the black passengers, they were sitting in the back of the bus. Some BS. But anyways, so the bus breaks down. As the bus breaks down, there's a car service that comes and picks up the white people, and then the black people are just left there because no one's come to fix the bus. The bus isn't fixed yet. And so Atticus and this black lady, they have to walk into town. And the town that they walk into is Chicago. So it's Chicago during that time. And Atticus, we see Atticus, he arrives to his aunt and uncle's place. And I don't know. Yeah, I think it's his aunt and his uncle's place. And his niece is there, aunt and uncle. So they're his niece. So his cousin, I guess that would be his cousin. His cousin is there, and she's a little girl, and she's excited to see him. And Atticus has his letter that he shows his uncle, and basically is like, hey, I got this from my father. I don't quite know what this means. And this is basically like the only thing and the last thing that I heard of him. Like, have you seen him? And the uncle explains to him like, hey, you know what? He hasn't been around for a couple of weeks. And so I haven't seen him. He's like, you don't know where he's went? He was like, nah, nigga. So Atticus reads him this, which I love the name Atticus, especially on one of. Anyways, in this Atticus, I forgot this actor's name, but I'm gonna get it. Maybe I'm gonna try to put it on the screen. But anyways, he's fine. But anyways, so come to find out, it seems as if his dad has his dad hasn't been seen in 2 weeks, like I said, and all he has is this letter, and it's kind of coded, and this letter is basically telling him where he needs to go to figure out, I guess, like, to find out some stuff about like his mother's side of the family, right? Right. That was my understanding of what I got from this quick little clip. So then we move on. So this is the next introduction to, we get another introduction to like the next main character. So we already met the uncle, who's which I gotta get his name too, but we met the uncle who is playing a main role in this series. We've met Atticus, who is definitely playing a main role in this series, and now we're meeting Letty. Her name is Letitia, but they call her Letty. And some of the times they call it Atticus Tick, but whatever. So Letty, we see her. So she shows up. There's this woman on stage. She's singing this beautiful song. It threw me back to like New Orleans. However, this is in Chicago, right? So this is not New Orleans, it's Chicago. However, you know, singing in the streets and the water. They had the water fountain going and the spraying everywhere, and it was just like this good ass time. And so Letty gets out. We see this woman on stage. Come to find out that is Letty's sister. So as she's about to wrap up her set, because she's performing on stage, she has one song left, and so she's asking for requests from the audience. And Letty throws out something, and so the crowd starts saying, "Hey, like, you know, get your sister up there and sing with you, right?" Right. So Letty gets on stage. Letty starts to try to show out. Her sister's like, "You ain't gonna outdo me." So she takes the mic back, and they continue to sing. They get into this little dance number, and then the show is done. But they have this good time, and apparently they haven't done this since their church days, like when they was growing up in church. So then they get off stage, and we get into this very intimate and personal conversation between Letty and her sister, where her sister basically is calling her a bum. She's like, "You're poor. What did you come here to ask me about? Because I know it's something. I know you want money, but I gave you money last time, and I can't keep helping you out, right?" Right. And Letty's like, "Nah, like, I don't need money. I just need a place to stay for, you know, a little bit. Like, can you do that?" And the sister was like, "I knew it. You only come around when you want something, but okay." And, essentially, she throws in Letty's face about how she's lazy and about how she didn't come back for the mother's funeral because their mother passed, and how she didn't come back for the mother's funeral, and yada, yada, yada. And essentially, she tells her that she can stay there for 2 days. And Letty's like, 2 days? Like, what, you expect me to find a job in 2 days? She's like, "You're going to have to do something because you can't stay with me that long." And so then we have a semi-meet cute, which I've explained this in my videos long past for like... I think it's when I was doing my insecure reviews for this last season. But anyways, a meet cute is basically when like two of the main characters whom could potentially have this romantic sort of relationship meet, and it's cute, right? They meet in some sort of cute way. So a meet cute. So this is a semi-meet cute because they have another one later, but this is like a semi-meet cute. And she's like, "Who is that?" Because he walking around, because he the one who turned on the sprinklers or whatever, like the water shower. So she's like, "Who is that?" Because he's taking his shirt off, and he looks good. He looks good. The body's built right. But anyways, he looks good. So she's like, "Oh, okay." And her sister's like, "Yeah, that's Atticus." And she's like, "Atticus with the glasses and like the nerve from school and all this kind of stuff like this." And the sister's like, "Yes, he's grown up now. You know, he's going to the war. Like his body's developed. He's growing into his body. He's growing into his head. Because, you know, that's something that we all got to do. You know, we've had some big ass heads when we were younger, but you got to grow into that shit." So she's like, he grew into his head, all this kind of stuff. He looks good now. And so she kind of looks at him, checking him up and down. You can tell there's like a little bit of something, but they keep it moving and they go on from there, right? So like I said, it's a semi-meet cute, but they're going to have another one that's like a full-on meet cute, which I'm just like, okay, I see. So then we get to... So then Atticus decides that he wants to go look for his father, right? And he's talking to his uncle about this, and his uncle says that he's going to go with him because he's not going to let his nephew go by himself. He wants to know what happened to his brother as well, right? Right. So then later on that night, we see Atticus. He makes a call to South Korea, and he up here. 555-283-967 450-254. I was like, what kind of number is this? Maybe this is something that we didn't learn in history books, but that was the longest number. It was at least like 20 digits. I was just like, and he memorized this. He memorized this. I was like, oh, okay. But so someone finally answers the phone, and it sounds like this lady's voice, and she goes, "Oh, you went back home. You shouldn't have." And so he's infuriated, so he hangs up the phone. So at first I thought like, oh, maybe he had a love child, he had a lover back there, and maybe there's something along the lines of that, which I can't say that I'm gonna take that completely off the table. However, why she said it like that and why he hung up like that. So apparently he was pissed off and he was like, nah, I don't got time. So it's the next day, it's the next morning, Atticus is walking through the streets, he's meeting up with his uncle. When he gets over to his uncle's place, he sees this lady half in, half out of this car in the back of the trunk, like packing things in there. And when I tell you, first of all, Journey Smollett Bell, like, she's one of my favorite actresses. And I'm bothered because I'm trying to think of where are her awards? Where are her flowers? Where are her gifts? Because when I tell you, first of all, as an actor, I'm not gonna lie, I study both women and men. I carry both masculine and feminine energy within me, as we all do, and I don't mind expressing that feminine energy. And so I study both. And she is someone that you just have to watch, because when I tell you she acts from her head all the way to like her pinky toe, she acts from her head all the way to her pinky toe. She acts from her like her scalp. She acts from her roots. She acts from her edges all the way down to like the paint on her toe. Like I just watching her on camera is like a beautiful thing. Like I loved her in Underground. I loved her in everything that I've ever seen her in. Started like, I think the first thing I've seen her in was like Eve's Bayou, and this was when I was like a kid, right? She's like magnificent, and I need to see her get her flowers. I need to see her get her things, because she's a brilliant actress, and I'm hoping that with this show we get this next award season, because I'm not here for her being overlooked anymore. But anyways, so she's half in the car, halfway out. He walks up, checking her out or whatever the case may be, and he's like, Letty, and she's like, Atticus. And they get up there, they hug each other, so they're friends. Of course, like I said earlier, they knew each other from school. So he's like, oh, you're coming on this trip with us? And she's like, yes, I am. I'm gonna be on this trip with you. And essentially, I'm guessing the 2 days was up, because her sister said, girl, you got 2 days to be here, and then you gotta go. And so them 2 days done passed real quick, and so Letty has to get on her next trip, her next adventure. And this was perfect timing for her. So she's like, yes, I'm going. So the uncle comes out. They basically, this is when we see the little girl doing her little comic book, and she gives it to her father to go on the road with him. And I was just like, it just was melting my heart, because I'm just like, yes, like the contributions and like the way in which history has been written, and you would think that we didn't contribute much, and we've done so much. There's so much history, and it's a shame that for some of us, we have to learn about this history outside of school, because most of what I know, 99% of what I know about my history as a Black person, came from stories amongst Black people talking, like listening to like my elders and hearing them tell me stories, asking my parents about different things, talking to my friends who knew about different things, doing my own research, picking out my own books, really investing in my own history, because we don't learn these things in school. And when you do get the history of the Black History Month, which was like, it's the stupidest thing. Like, I personally understand the presence of it, but I mean, it's the stupidest thing when you think of Black history outside of American history, when Black history and American history is the exact same thing. And then they only relegate it to a month. And then every month, from when you're a child, from when you're like 5 years old, all the way up through high school, you learn about like 4 people. The same 4 people. That's calculated, and that's purposeful, just for any of you guys who need to know. It's very purposeful, and it's very disgusting and needs to be fixed, like, expeditiously. Like, I do not care. Stop telling us about the 4 same people as if we didn't do more, and if we didn't have more people to look up to, and just whatever. Anyways, let's keep it moving, because that's a whole nother thing. So this moment is their official meet cute, because like I said, he sees her, he eyes her, he likes what he sees, she goes up, she talks to him, they hug, it's this beautiful thing. But as we see right now, they're only friends, right? So the daughter comes out, she gives him the comic book, and now they're gonna head out on this trip. So then, as they're traveling towards the Midwest, and I was just like, the Midwest in the 50s? If I know my, if my memory serves me right, if I know my history well, the Midwest is not some place that you'd like to be when you are a person of color and or a black person in the 1950s. But let's get into it, shall we? So I was like, here's some fuck shit. That's literally what I wrote down in my notes. Here's some fuck shit. It's about to be some fuck shit. So as they're driving through, they're having a good time, right? Because we have a good time when we're together. Yes, we do. They pass a sign that reads, this is a quote, "Niggers, don't let the sun set on you here. Understand?" Okay. So now here we are. We're at this mark where it's a lot of the drama, the tension, the turmoil, the conflict is about to intensify. It's about to increase. It's about to enhance. It's about to ensue. It's about to... Anyway, so they drive through this, and I was like, oh, okay, here comes the bullshit. So then they stop at this gas station, and as they're talking, we're minding our business. This show gonna be triggering just like that show on Hulu. What was that show on Hulu? Little Fires Everywhere. This show's gonna trigger me. This show is really gonna be some type of escapism because you do have those other aspects to the show. However, it's also gonna trigger me in some ways because of this fuck shit. But anyways, they're standing there. They're pumping gas. We're minding our own business. Minding our own business. And out of the corner of their eye, they see this guy over there acting like a monkey and trying to mock them. And I'm just like, what are you doing? And so, of course, Atticus, he ready to fight. Atticus is a war man. He went to war. He knows how to lay hands on people. So he ain't the one you want to mess with. So Atticus goes to approach him because, he was provoking him. And so Atticus was like, oh, you came for this. You came from this beef, I'm about to give it to you. So then Letty grabs him. She's like, no, it ain't even worth it. They're definitely not worth it. But anyways, so she's like, let's get in the car, let's go, and we're going to keep on going. So that's exactly what they do. So they keep on going. So then we arrive at the next town or whatever the case may be, and they arrive at this place, this diner. So as they get out of the car, they're walking towards the diner. These white women are looking at them, and they're scared and stuff like this. And they go inside, and there's a white server in the diner, and then there's this one white patron by himself who is sitting at the bar, and when he sees them walk in and ask for a menu and a table, he rips off his the paper towel and throws it down, and he gets up and he storms out. So we understand this is a very racist place, right? We know that during the 1950s people were still very racist. Not much has changed, but people were still very racist and just didn't like us. So they asked for menus. The guy gonna come around and bring the menus. However, he disappears to the back somewhere. So as they're sitting there, because they requested 3 waters. So as they're sitting there, Letty has to go to the restroom. So she gets up to go to the restroom, and she overhears this little punk ass bitch talking about I'm sorry. He's calling people, right, to let them know that, hey, 3 black people, but they ain't what he said back then, but 3 black people are in the establishment. I haven't served them. I don't want to serve them, especially after what happened. He said someone's name. So we have this assumption that something happened, which, to be honest, they didn't need to be a reason back then. They taunted us, they murdered us, they raped us, they hung us, they hanged us, without a reason, right? Cut off, genitalia and tongues and all this different kind of shit for no reason. So there didn't need to be a reason on this phone call, but he's trying to give one, right? And Letty hears this. And so all of a sudden she runs back out and she's like, get up, motherfuckers. We got to get the fuck up out of here because this ain't a place that we need to be in. So as they run out and she hops in the driver's seat, which earlier it was funny because earlier in the film, earlier in the show, they said that they didn't want her to drive, but she gets in the driver's seat and she backs that shit up and she pulls for it. They come and hop in, and as soon as they get in, they can barely turn the corner. Here comes these 2 different cars, these trucks following them with racist men on the back of them, some racist white men who are shooting at them. They're trying to murder them. They're trying to kill them, and they have to try to hurry up and get out of this town and so as to not be murdered, right, by these people. And so as they're driving, Letty's flooring it. So first of all, she badass. Letty's flooring it. And Atticus pulls out his gun and he starts to shoot. Boom, boom, boom. They're shooting. They blow out the back window. He's still shooting. Boom, boom, boom. Nothing's really taking effect. So then as we're driving down the road, they're speeding down the road. There's this other car. So there's like this silver car that's coming down the road. And Atticus is like, Letty. She's like, I see the motherfucker. Let me drive. Shut the fuck up. So she's driving down the road and she's speeding off. And her intention is, I need to get in front of this car, because if I'm able to get in front of this car, I can put a barrier in between us and hopefully they won't be shooting through this car to try to get to us. You know what I mean? They'd have to try to go around and that'll kind of throw them off real quick and we can try to get away. So Letty floors it. She actually does make it in front of the car. This car zooms in right behind Letty. And as the truck starts you can see the truck trying to maneuver and go around them. And this second car that we don't know about is not letting them pass. So then as Letty's flooring it, all of a sudden we see this car swerve and comes to a stop, like G mode, right? Swerve and stop, right? And out of nowhere, the truck is still coming and it hits like a force field because it didn't touch the car. Not one scratch, not one mark, nothing. It hits like this force field that was, I guess, protecting this car, which I told you with the beginning of this series, it alluded to more supernatural sort of things happening within the show. So you're along for the ride. It already set it up for us, and now you're just along for a ride for whatever's happening, so it's not jarring, right? So it comes up, it hits like this force field, and then it does this like triple flip in the air. One of the men, which I thought was fucking hilarious, I was like, whoever thought of that is like genius. One of the men flew out of the window. One of the men flew out of the window and landed on the ground, and the truck came and just crushed his ass. The other two were of course blown up in the car, whatever the case may be. And Letty stops the car because they're like, what the fuck? They turn around. Atticus, this lady pops out with this red hat. She's this white lady. Very pretty. I've seen her in other things. I can't remember her name right now. Her real name. I don't know her character's name yet because it hasn't been mentioned, but we'll get to it. I'm assuming later on in this series. So she steps out dressed. She had the old hat on, the fit, dressed, right? Red lip. And she looks at Atticus. Atticus looks at her. So we're assuming there is some sort of, maybe he knows who this is, maybe he doesn't. And he goes, Letty, pull out, get the fuck up out of here. So they drive off and then going down the road, right? So I was like, oh, so now we done picked up in the danger, which I'm loving this. I like danger. I love watching shows that make me feel some type of way. This show was definitely doing that. I was like, this is how you, first of all, this is how you write a series. I didn't talk about this. This is how you write a show. This is how you write a show. Like this show, I already can tell. I'm like every episode, and it's just gonna keep getting better and better and better and better and better. This is a really good show. Like they doing this shit right here. But anyways, so yeah, that was so we did all of that. So then they arrived to Letty's brother's house, and they're talking Letty up, letting them know about how Letty, was the person behind the wheel who got us away from the people, right? So then and they're here because he has some more information about sort of where their next stop is, right? How to get to this place they're looking for in order to find their father, because that's this mission that they're on, right? So then at that point, they were having a good time. Now, later on in the night, Atticus and his uncle is out on the porch or whatever it gets to be. And here go her brother, Letty's brother, just like the sister was doing earlier. He's upset because Letty missed the mother's funeral, and he's already sent her money, and apparently earlier, off the screen time, right? As a backstory, he has sent Letty money to get home, to make it to the funeral, and he asked her, what did you do with that money? And she's like, I needed it for other things. I needed to bail people out of this and this and this. And so we get this sort of sense that Letty is this person who is definitely one for adventure, but then she's definitely one for sort of like, she gives me abolitionist. She gives me like, well, it can't be abolitionist, but I mean like mindset, because, no one's slaves during this time. But I mean that mindset of like, I'm still going to try to free my people, because we know still in the 1950s, things, we weren't free. Like 2020, look what's happening now. So you see what I'm saying? So it's that type of thing. So I do think regardless of what type of time frame that you're in, like, I still think they could be present day abolitionists if you look at the word and the context of it and what it means. I view her as a person who is an abolitionist. So that's that. So he's arguing with her, right? And he basically tells her, hey, you only can stay here tonight, and then you and your friends got to go because I don't like you, because you should have been there for mom. And for me, it didn't miss me that Letty is fairer skinned than both her brother and her sister. So it is that, just from that cue, is leading me to believe possibly that Letty's could have some sort of, because I liken her to be the younger sister of the younger sibling out of her brother and her sister. I feel like her brother and sister are older than her, and then I feel like something happened where Letty's mom might have fallen in love. It could have been something else that was more grotesque and like dangerous and disgusting, right? As we know, that happened back in the day too. But I'm assuming Letty's sentiment is probably that her mother then left her older siblings' father and went and did something with a white man because she is fairer skinned. So we know, like, back in that time, if that were the case, then something must have happened between the white man and the black woman, or whatever the case would be. And here we have a child that is fairer skinned than her other siblings, right? Now we know that don't have to be the case today. And today, like, you can have two black parents and all the kids can come out in different shades, right? Right. But back then, it was a thing. So I'm piecing together that maybe that this isn't what the show has given us, but my mind starts to think, because like I said, I am a screenwriter and I am an actor, and sometimes we have to come up with backstories for the characters, not that we act in, but as a writer, I always have to come up with the backstory. But as an actor, you kind of have to piece in some things together. So my brain started thinking like that, and I was just like, well, possibly she could resent her mother for that. You know what I mean? She could resent her mother for that. So I don't know, but that's just a little thing that I'm piecing together for myself. So then it's the next morning, right? Letty comes out of that. She storms out of that house looking dressed, like fashion on point. She storms out. She's ready to go because her brother said, you can't stay here. So they get back in the car and they're rolling around. And finally Atticus is like, pull over. And the uncle's like, for what? Like, this clearly doesn't have, like, this can't be the place. And Atticus is like, well, let me get out. Let me just look. Let me just see. Like, just stop. We've been in the car all day. Pull the fuck over. So the uncle pulls over. He gets out of the car and he goes like, I'm gonna take a look around. Letty gets out of the car with him, and they're both standing out there. They're both just kind of looking into, like, the woods, right? The wood. They're both looking in there, and out of nowhere, this cop car suddenly pulls up behind them, parks behind them, and I was like, okay, here comes some more fuck shit. So he gets out, rifle drawn, and he approaches them, and he's like, you in the car, get out, because the uncle was still in the car, and everyone approached the back of the vehicle. And he's walking up, and he comes up. Basically, what are y'all doing here? You're not supposed to be here. You know what place this, you know where you're at, right? Well, here, what we do, it's my duty to hang people like you for being here after sundown. It's my duty. And I was like, you disgusting. Anyways, he said it was his duty to do this. So I was just like, oh, okay, so y'all gotta get up out of here. And that's their intention. And so they're like, oh, okay, well, we're headed south, so da-da-da. He was like, oh, that's not gonna work for you because you won't have enough time. And if I catch you speeding, I'm definitely gonna pull you over. And so you definitely won't have enough time to get out of my reach, because if you're still here, I can promise you, you will get hanged. And so they're like, then we'll go north. And he was like, that sounds like a good idea. And he was like, as they go to get in the car, they were like, because they don't want to have any problems. Atticus turns around and he was like, oh, well, can we make a U-turn here? Because, you gotta outsmart, which ain't too hard, but you gotta outsmart them. And he goes, oh, you're a smart cookie. Usually I don't let you do this. However, if you basically kiss my ass and basically let me know how dumb you are, I'll let you do it. So Atticus has to like basically beg, like, you know, like whatever, just stupid. And he has to do this in order to let the guy say that they can turn around. He says, okay, you can do it. They got 7 minutes to get up out of this, to get up out of his county, his town, or they're gonna be hanged. So they get in the car, they rush off as fast as they can because the speed limit is only 25 miles per hour. So at first the cop was keeping his distance, but now we've gotten down to the last 3 minutes, and here he goes trailing them, and he's approaching very quickly. So he's not following the speed limit, of course, and he comes up on them, and they're like, "Can't you go faster?" Atticus is driving at this time. He's like, "Nah, like I ain't trying. Like if we go fast, we pass the speed limit. He's definitely gonna pull us over, and then who knows what's gonna happen to us at this point, right?" Right. So as they're driving, he comes up on them. He gonna start hitting the back of the car, and I'm just like, this nigga. So he hit the back of the car, trying to provoke them to go faster because then he can definitely pull them over. So now we're down to the last 30 seconds. He's bumping the car. Atticus is keeping it at 25 miles per hour, making sure they get it. We come down to the last like 7 seconds, and I think they pass the railroad tracks, which lets them know they're outside of this county, right? This town, with like 3 seconds to spare. And they take a breather, and they were kind of going up this slight ascension. And so as they go over it, they're like relieved. And then as they start to come down the hill a little bit, here we go, like 3 cop cars in the middle of the road blocking their path. And they have cops out with their weapons out. And of course, this fuck ass, he called them and let them know, like, hey, this is what's going on. And so they get them out of the car, they take them out into the woods, and they're basically about to murder them. So they push them down on the ground, and as that happens, some ruffling starts going on in the bushes, and the cops are like, "What's that? What's that?" They got their things drawn and their flashlights out, What's this? So out of nowhere, I was like, oh, okay, like Mother Nature's about to do her thing. So out of nowhere, these creatures, right, these supernatural creatures run out with they got like 1,000 eyes in their face. I was like, oh, okay, this is a new creature. We haven't seen one like this before. He runs out. One of these creatures runs out and attacks one of them and basically rips his arm off. And I was just like, oh, his arm fell with the flashlight. And so, unbeknownst to the uncle, because the uncle did not do this, Letty and Atticus, they get up and they start running. They're running. The uncle is still laying there. Of course, these cops are pursuing them because they don't want them to get away. And they're shooting at the creatures because the creatures are killing people. So as Letty and Atticus, they approach this cabin that's out there in the middle of the woods, and they go inside of there. Here come the cops. So one of the cops who got his arm ripped off and that's literally laying there with the flashlight in front of Atticus's uncle. Him and this other cop run to my, let us in. So of course, and they're trying to let them in, but they shoot a hole through the door, and so then these punks come in. So they come in and they tell them to block the door. The one got his arm's off, and he got like half of his chest is missing. I'm like, ugh. So they're in there, and essentially, the uncle, we jump back to the uncle gets up, he has his flashlight, he goes and he starts running and he's looking for them in case maybe, and then Atticus is like, I gotta go get my uncle, and they're like, no, you're not gonna open this door, He's like, I gotta go find my uncle, like, I'm gonna do it, like, this ain't gonna happen. And so then out of nowhere they hear the uncle coming, so they hurry up and they open up the door. The uncle runs in with them, and then they shut the door. So now the things get on top of the ceiling because they're trying to break through, all right? So Atticus theorizes that, hey, it's either Atticus or his uncle, but one of them theorized that, hey, I don't think these things, I think it was the uncle. These things don't like light. This is, my hypothesis is that these things don't like light. We need to go get more light so that these things don't bother us, and so we can make it through the night. And so they think of, hey, the car has lights on it, like, let's go get the car. And so Atticus is like, okay, I'll go do it. The cop is like, no, you're not gonna go do it because you're the smart one. You might get the bright idea to leave us here and run away. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go. What are you gonna do? Kill me? And the cop's like, yeah, basically, that's exactly what we're gonna do if you try to open this door and leave. So he's like, you know what? Let her go. I'm like, she's smart too. But anyways, he's like, let her go. And you better come back with the car, So she says, okay, I'm going to go. She's terrified, but Letty has to go. So Letty gets out there and she starts running. I'm just like, just anytime I see Journey on screen, I'm just blown away. Like when I tell you she's a physical act, like she's everything. Like Journey can act her ass off. I'm so inspired by her as an actress. She's just brilliant. And so anyways, she's out there, she's running, she's trying to make it. I'm just like, why didn't you give her one of the I mean, I guess y'all need a flashlight in here too, but look for lights in here. They should have gave her a flashlight because she's running unprotected, essentially. So she makes it all the way to the car and she's trying to turn it on. One of these beasts, right? He plants in front of her and he starts charging towards the car. She hurry up, she cranks on the car and the light comes on and it kind of shies away. And then another one, I guess, came from the back and he jumps on top of the ceiling, and so she has to gun the car to kind of throw him off, and then she goes and she starts racing towards where the cabin is. So at this point they come back as she's racing towards the cabin. The guy who got his arm thrown off or bit off or whatever case it be, and like this part ripped off, he starts to act, he's coughing up stuff, and I'm just like, COVID. And he's doing all this different kind of stuff, and like his body's shifting and stuff and morphing and stuff. And the uncle was like, I hollered. The uncle was like, I think you're gonna have to shoot him. I was like, yes, because homeboy about to turn into something else. So he asked Atticus, he was like, oh, because you read these books, like what happens when a vampire bites you? And basically, we all know that what happens if you're not murdered. If they bite you, you turn into a vampire too. So they was like, basically, he about to turn into one of these creatures. So we see him start to shrink up. His face get uglier than it was before. And he starts to morph. And so they're like, shoot him. Like, you need to shoot him. And so he fully changes into this other, the beast that bit him, and then he bites the cop because the cop wouldn't shoot him. But it goes to show you, anyways, he bites the cops. This cop is about to turn into something too. So as this is happening and they're freaking out, Letty comes through. She hits one of them with the car because she just bursts to the cabin. And like, we had to get in here. We had to fuck up out of here. So as they're trying to do that, because I don't think the car would start actually. So he has to run over. He grabs one of the guns and he starts to boom, boom, boom. He shoots them. And next thing I know is that I'm explaining so much without looking down at my notes. That's how much I just remember because it was so good. Excuse me. So yeah, so they get away from that, right? So now it's morning time. I feel like I might have missed something, but hopefully not, because anyways, it's morning time, and we see all three of them have made it. All of them are running out of there, because at first they thought the uncle wasn't going to make it, but he was all right. So then the uncle, Letty, and Atticus, they're walking, and and they come across, we see them make a right, they pivot left, and we see this big, like, mansion-looking house, and it's just like, okay, so what is this? So then they walk, of course, they approach the door, they ring the doorbell or whatever it case to be. I don't even think they got to ring the doorbell. The door opens, and this white guy who's very, very much so in the same sort of hue as like the woman from earlier, like he's very put together, he's very, and his hair is like done up and blue eyes, whatever case it be. He's like, Mr. Freeman, we've been waiting for you, because Atticus's last name is Freeman. Mr. Freeman, we've been waiting for you. And, come up in this hole. And so then it goes to black. It's the black, and that's it. And I remember, like, when it finished, my jaw was just like open, like, and I just said, wow. Like, I was just blown away. Like, this is it. Like, this is the type of show that I would love to act in. This is the type of show that I would love to write for. Like, this is that show. Like, this is amazing. This is an amazing show. Like, I love it. I am so glad that this, like, first of all, I feel like it's a birthday treat. So thank you, Misha Green, and thank you, HBO, and thank you, Jordan Peele, and thank you, everyone else who worked on the show. But it's beautiful. Like, if you haven't seen this, I promise. Hopefully my review of it, because I'm telling you, it's beautiful. It's so good. It's going to touch on a lot of different things. Jordan Peele is just so good at integrating in the types of things that he's invested in, which I love. But This is also very commonplace for a lot of the Black content, the amazing Black content that is out right now. When we talk about Insecure, when we talk about, I'm going to include High Fidelity, when we talk about, Lovecraft, when we talk about I May Destroy You. Like, these shows are important, they're necessary, and they're beautiful. And then even when we talk about, okay, so these shows are back in the day, but Netflix just came back out with Moesha and The Game and this and that, so go check out those too. But I'm very excited to be reviewing this, and we're gonna stick to our schedules because I'm almost wrapped up with getting my second language teaching certification. That will be done in like a couple of weeks because I just finished week 9, I'm in week 10. This is like the last official like book, like learning from the book and like reading and and my test and quizzes and stuff like this. And then I have like my big final project. So then that'll be done, which then I'll just be sitting with my second language teaching certification because like I told you guys, we're going to Germany. We're going over there to teach some students some English. So I'm just very excited. I'm very happy. I can't wait to be done because then I'll be able to have more focus, but we're going to get focused regardless of whether that's ending or not because I have to on my channel. It's just important to me and it's important for me, for you guys. So yeah, yes, I did sit here with my shirt open this whole, because it's hot. It's very hot and I like natural light really. So I'm sitting up here in front of my window, which I feel like y'all gonna see this light go away because it's about to rain or whatever outside or something here in Texas, but whatever. I am super stoked. Like I said, I can't wait to finish watching the rest of this series. Like this series, like it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope. I already know. I'm very much so excited. This is giving me like Black, like it's like our version of True Blood, which I was a big fan of True Blood back in the day. And True Blood did have diversity on that cast. There was diversity. We had gay people, we had straight people, we had white people, we had Black people. We had reds, we had this, we had that. It was a beautiful show too. I love that show. But anyways, that was my high school days. But yeah, now we got this show. And this show is that show. So please, guys, watch it. I will be reviewing and critiquing and talking about it every single week. And like I said, look forward to those other videos that are also going to start being posted weekly. I think there's going to be about 3 to 4 videos a week. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're coming through. We're carving out space for ourselves, like I said, so that we can create regardless. Love you guys. Thank you for anyone watching. I know some of my family and my friends watch. I thank you and love the people who I don't know who are watching and who engage with me in the comments. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna get up off of here because I actually want to try to record another video that I want to post soon. So yeah, let me get up off of here. Thank you guys again so much. And like I said, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Hit the subscribe button. I would love it. I would love it so much. Also like, because it helps with the algorithm. Thank you guys so much. And I am gone. All right. Bye-bye.